Today, we're going to break down how fear runs most of our lives and stops us from getting to our dreams. The title today is something along the lines of The Matrix. Now, if we think about what The Matrix is, from my understanding, The Matrix is where you're caught living in this illusion, right? You've bought into this illusion that you're stuck into, or a simulation. And that's the Matrix, is believing that that is actually real, but what's actually real is something outside the matrix. Now, how does that play a role when it comes to reality, this actual life? The way I see it is fear is the thing that keeps us stuck in this matrix. Now, here's what I mean. First of all, this matrix, what is this matrix? Well, we're stuck in something, we're stuck in this illusion. And what would be the opposite of that? What would be outside the matrix? Well, that would be a broader understanding. It would be to exit this illusion that we're in. Now, for most people, that illusion is not living life that they want. So living in a life that is fear based, struggle based, suffering based, not enjoyable, not following their excitement, not following their dreams. So we'll say outside the matrix is where you are living your dream life. You remember how powerful you are, how amazing you actually are. You're fully your most authentic self. You're following your highest passions, your joys, your excitement. You're living your personal dream. We'll say that's outside the matrix. Now, some people might argue right now that's not even possible. But here's the thing, the only thing that stops us from living that life is simply belief systems. For example, the belief that it's not possible. The reason why I say is because there is people who are genuinely living that in their lives right now. I'm one of them. I only do what I want to do for the most part. I live my personal dream. I create my personal dream in reality. I make my life exactly how I want to make my life. Why wouldn't we? The only reason why we wouldn't, the only reason why we would not create this heaven on earth, and instead most of us living in this hell on earth, the only reason is because of our belief systems. We simply don't believe that we can. And the reason why I say the only reason is because your beliefs are literally the mechanism that creates your personal reality. It is the thing that creates your personal reality. How that works is if you look at your personal reality, there's a few layers to this. So number one, results. If you look at your physical reality and the results in your life right now, they're a creation of actions. You can only create something in your life if you take action. So you take a certain set amount of actions, you get a reaction, you get a consequence, you get results. Now, how we take action consistently over time, how we take the right, proper, consistent actions to get the specific results that we want, this is coming from identity. Because how the whole system works is identity is created through thought and emotion. Overall emotions influence how we show up and take action. But same thing with our identity structure. So thought and emotion held over time creates identity. Naturally, your actions, your motivators, your behaviors, your decisions, they come from your core identity. And what forms identity, again, is thought and emotion. And where does that come from? That comes from belief systems, because belief systems send you, we'll say, send you because you are not your thought. You're the one receiving your thoughts. You just buy into the fact that you think you are your thoughts because that is your ego, who is the protector of identity, but you are not your thoughts. So beliefs send the thoughts, and our belief systems create or influence our perception on reality, and how you interpret things then produces an emotion. So you can't randomly feel emotion. You have to interpret something and then you get an emotion, and that's how it's created. So beliefs run everything when it comes to creating physical results in reality. It comes down to your core belief system. To take that a step farther, though, your personal experience in reality, how you see the world for what it is coming from the belief systems as well. Of course, there's objective truths, right? Like gravity, for example. That is a truth with a capital T. But other what most people think are truths, for example, life is suffering, life is bad, life is evil, money is evil, there's not enough in this world. What we think are truths are not actual full truths. They're not actual full truths. We might argue that that's objective reality, but that's not a full truth. That's not a forever truth. So, what happens is that our belief system influences what we see, what we focus on, our perspective, our perception of reality itself, whatever we believe to be true. So, somebody could have a full reality experience where life is like where, let's say, the same things happen to them, but the belief systems that they hold and carry are negative and disempowering and suffering and the world's bad, blah, blah, blah. They're going to have a total different experience than, let's say, their twin who went through the same exact thing but has a completely different belief system. Their interaction with reality is going to be completely different. So, if your life is more happier, if it's more suffering and struggle, it all comes from the belief system. Literally, we have this thing called RAS, your reticular activating system, and it filters out 99.999% of reality. And it hyper focuses in on the things that you believe to be true. We got to be careful, first, side note, when it comes to this, because social media pounces on that. The algorithm pounces on that. It quickly picks up on what you focus on, the information that you're constantly gathering, and just reconfirming it over and over and over and over again. So remember that there is objective truths, but the full truths are very rare. There's not as many of them. And many of us are living off truths that we think are true, but they're not actually the full truth. So diving back to this matrix idea, this matrix is built on fear. And the reason why is because, again, the only reason why we're not living our lives the way we want to, being our most authentic selves, doing exactly what we don't or what we do want to do, the only reasons why we don't is all built off belief systems. But those belief systems are disempowering and fear based. And that's why they're capping you. The most highest empowering belief systems will influence you to create the highest, most exciting, best possible life. An example, money. A lot of us believe there's not enough money. Money is hard to make. Money is evil. All these disempowering belief systems. Or abundance, for example. We think that the only form of abundance is money. So we have these very disempowering belief systems that often get us tangled up, get us stuck in life, and influence our decisions on things or influence the decisions that we don't make on things. And it runs our world. Now, remember that that is just a belief system, though. That is just a belief system around money. That money is hard to make, money is evil, money is all these things. And that is recreating your personal reality experience over and over and over again. Money is simply just energy, it's just a tool. It's not good or bad, it just is. And somebody with a belief system of abundance, they literally open up their mind to find more opportunities of abundance, to create more abundance in their life, to think, feel, and act differently to create more abundance in their lives. So this matrix is built off of fear. Fear is what traps us in this matrix in real time. All these ideas of the reasons why you can't go do the things that you want to do, the reasons why you can't follow your dreams, you can't go live the life that you want, you can't act on your joy all the time. The things that stop you from doing what you actually want most is all rooted in fear. It's all rooted in disempowerment. But that's then manifested into lack of trust in yourself, lack of belief in yourself, not thinking you're worthy, not thinking you're deserving, not thinking that you're lovable or enough or confident. That's how it manifests into. And then that, all those feelings and thoughts that you have about yourself then influence your decisions, your actions, and get you trapped in this matrix. Like if I shared with you that there was a way that you could literally just do what you want, where you follow your joy, you follow your passion, you do the things that you genuinely love to do, and you can create an amazing life from that. Most people don't believe that's possible. But the only reason why you wouldn't believe that's possible is your belief system. If you showed up on today on this world and you didn't have past programming, and I told you that, you would just then take those instructions and follow them and go create the life that you want. And any challenge that comes up along the way, you would look at it as, well, this is just part of the journey to creating what I want because you don't know any better. right? I only program that into your mind that you can go create the life that you want, that there is no limitations. So you won't find limitations in your path. You won't see things as limitations, as most other people who have that programming would see it as limitation, and therefore it is a limitation. It stops them. But if you didn't have that, you just look at every challenge as an opportunity to get closer to where you want to go. You won't be such a perfectionist. You'll be adaptable to get to where you want to go. Eventually, you will get to where you want to go. That's simply how the brain works. It is a prediction machine. Whatever you believe to be true, it must go out into reality and reconfirm that over and over and over again. So, the simple reason why we don't live our passion and our dream is because we don't believe it's possible. And you might be thinking right now, well, no, I don't do that because I don't have enough money. I need to make money to survive. Remember, that's all belief systems. That's all in your belief that you can't find a way to make money from following your passion. I've always followed my passion. I've made $1 million by 25, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that to show you that it's actually way beyond possible. I'm not special in any terms when it comes to that stuff. It is beyond possible. So as I even share this and I say this, you'll notice the ego is always trying to jump in to defend your current identity, somebody who you might not even want to be, right? And it defends it with thoughts of like, well, that's not possible. You probably got lucky, or you probably got this, or this is your past, or you have this access to that. Remember, all of those things will not help you get to where you want to go. It's dragging you back to this matrix over and over and over and over and over again. So back to what I was saying. So the reason why we don't follow our dreams is because there's simply just belief systems in the way that block us from doing it. Because if you genuinely believed it was possible, you would act upon it, you would think about it, you would feel that way, and you would go do it. And you would create that reality. One of the biggest lies that we're told is that reality happens to us. Reality happens through us. If you look at reality, what it simply is a reflection of your internal world. As within, so without. The ancients all knew this stuff. As within, so without. What that means is that whatever I believe to be true, it then gets reflected in my personal reality. Think of a mirror. If you want the mirror to smile, who needs to smile first? You need to smile first. So this matrix is fear because we have these fear-based belief systems, disempowering belief systems where you can't go do what you want. And then we lose trust in ourselves. We don't listen to our intuition. We heavily rely on logic instead. We look at social media and follow our influences and listen to what everyone else tells us to do. And we buy into this program over and over and over and over again. Over and over and over and over again. And we have these beliefs that run our lives and we never ever question them. But here's the thing is that any belief, and you should try this yourself, any belief that is rooted in fear or disempowerment is never true. It's never fully true. Beliefs that you're not good enough, that you don't have enough time, they're not full truth. They might be your personal truth right now, and you will keep reconfirming that belief because that's how your brain operates. But remember, reality is neutral. You make of it what you want. You make of it what you want. So you can keep buying into those beliefs and stay stuck, but you can actually dissect them and realize and remember who you actually are, how genuinely powerful you actually are. So that is what I would say is this matrix, is that we are living in this illusion that we can't do the things that we want, that we can't live our dreams, that this life is always a struggle, always bad, all these things. And here's the thing, there's gonna be, even as you, let's say, exit this matrix, right? And you are following your dreams and passions, there's still gonna be things in life that you don't prefer, right? Or that you think should change. Like there's still gonna be that. But one of the best things that you can do there is just understand that, hey, this is something that is just going on. I can really only do my part. I'm going to focus on myself, become my best self. Let that be a reflection of other people that they can then follow along. And I'm going to let go of the things that I can't control. I'm not going to let that consume my life and make me hate life because there's so much more good over on the other side as well. So life or this matrix, it's built in fear. This fear keeps us stuck. It taps into the animalistic side of us. The animalistic side of us is the animal brain that just wants safety, security, Predictability, that's literally what the brain is a prediction machine. It only cares about you staying the same. It's trying to protect the same belief systems that you have, the same identity, and it's just trying to recreate the same thing over and over and over and over again. Over and over and over and over again. And this is why, as you try to leave the matrix, as you try to follow your passion, your joy, doubt comes up, fear of change comes up, uncertainty, you don't trust in yourself, you lose confidence in yourself. All of these old programmings come into the surface. And if you keep going, what you'll realize is they fall apart, and then you can form new ones that align with who you're creating and who you want to be. But what happens to most of us is we crave certainty and comfort. We let the animal self take over. We do not regulate our nervous system. So we retreat back to the old way and stay stuck over and over and over again. And then we come up with the excuses like it's a scam, it's not possible, I tried everything, it never works, right? But we have to sacrifice that old self to create the new self. And the new self, what I mean by that is the version of you who is not rooted, who is not created off fear and limitation. The version of you who you programmed to live and create and become the dream you, your most authentic self, your most authentic self. Because otherwise, if not, you're just wearing a mask. You're just wearing a mask in life and pretending to be someone that you're actually not. You're going to a job and doing this job and performing this job that you're not actually happy with, that you don't actually want to do, but you only do it because your programming led you that way. But if it was up to you, you'd be doing something completely differently, living somewhere completely differently. But the reason why we don't go to those things is because all the rules in our head and the beliefs and the fear that stop us from doing it. And the biggest thing I want you to take away from today's training, as I'm just kind of rambling on, is that this idea of the matrix in real life is that this is an illusion. The fact that you can't do the things that you want to do, that there's not enough in the world, that it's not possible, that you're not good enough, unworthy, or whatever it may be, anything that brings you down away from what you actually genuinely want, your passion, your dream on life, the things that excite you most. Anything that takes you away from that is the matrix. It's a lie. And it's, if you really dig deep enough, you realize it's all rooted in fear. And if you can understand how the mind works when it comes to your focus, your perception, how you filter out reality and the information that you can absorb and how you think and feel and act, if you can really understand how all that works and how the root of it all really does come down to your core belief systems, if you can get to that point, it is so freeing because no longer do you feel like you're trapped in a cage. You genuinely give yourself permission to go do the things that you want to do, be the person you want to be, go through challenges, but they won't weigh so heavily down because, again, you're not rooted in fear. You're not rooted in fear. When you change your belief systems to believe, again, you're abundant, you can love unconditionally, you can follow your joy, your passion, it's all a game. You don't have to take it all so seriously. When you can really shift your belief systems away from disempowerment to more empowered belief systems, your life just gets 100 times better. And again, you can do the things that you want to do in life. You have full permission to be who you want to be in life. It's absolutely possible. It's even more possible in the life that you're creating now, because I would argue that life there is actually the life that's meant for you. That's why you have the visions. That's why you have that feeling in your heart. That's why that dream is always calling you. It's always pulling you towards it. To live in the matrix is to ignore that and to say, well, that's not realistic. That's actually way more realistic. What's unrealistic is living in this lie, this illusion, playing it safe, just trying to survive, be comfortable, and not actually going out and having that full experience and expanding yourself to be the person that you know inside you absolutely can be. And I'll stop the ramble there for today, guys. So that's the training for today. Now, no whiteboard, but if you did like this style of me kind of just rambling on my thoughts, make sure you like and subscribe and comment below those so I know. Like, if you want more of this, let me know down below what your thoughts are. But I appreciate you so much. Let me know what your thoughts are on overall on the topic. But don't let fear stop you from living the life that you want, because mostly all this fear is rooted in disempowering belief systems that are not actually universally true. You can absolutely believe in the best for yourself in the life. You can focus on it and you can genuinely create that here and now on earth. It's absolutely possible to create the best possible life experience you can have. And it's never too late. Doesn't matter how old or young or whatever it is. Remember, again, anything that makes you disempowered and sad is all rooted in a belief system that is not universally true, that's been programmed into you. Therefore, you can change it to have a more empowering, better, aligned belief system that fits you personally. That's your personal power. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next time.